Salutations, future Twig. Past Twig here once again. We're back with another miniature machinations for everybody. Today's going to be the very first vlog I make of the new miniature I'm working on, which is effectively kind of a cyber harpy stop motion animation puppet thing, because I really wanted to try that out, and I've been wanting to make a cyber harpy for forever. I'll put some links up on screen, but basically I've always enjoyed the flying kind of Warhammer 40k style units. I wanted some for my own army, and I actually made an original attempt at one. Let me bring it on screen here, where I was trying to make this little unit that could be fit on the bottle cap and kind of be like a little flying unit for my army, and I just wasn't happy with how it was coming together. I had started it, I abandoned the project for almost a year, and I was like, you know what, I want to try it again. I've had some success with that crab that I showed you in the last miniature machinations, and I'm like, okay, so let me give this another try. And so let me show you what I've actually got here. So far, so good. I've actually got a wire armature here, and I've actually started doing out the flesh and muscle using a tiny bit of aluminum foil and a lot of hot glue, and it's been quite fun. I actually got this idea from a different channel. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put the link down in the description below. But he was a great guy and kind of showed you how he makes action figures, and he has posable action figures, which I figured, since I want to experiment with stop motion animation, I thought it was a perfect thing to try out and see if I can merge several different hobbies into one. Additionally, I also found this great reference image because there was a brand new Magic the Gathering card, which you'll see on screen right now, which is this like Saga Harpy from the Final Fantasy new set, and I was really excited to try that out because I've always been inspired by Moonshine Animations. I thought he has some very cool stuff, and while I think he has very cool stuff, he uses these Figma figures, which are like these anime figure looking things, and they run like 60 minimum, usually closer to like $80, $90 for a single figurine. I was like, I wonder if I can make something myself just to mess around with a little stop motion and give it a try, and that's what I got here. So as you can see, I've got my Harpy limbs all kind of established here using some wire. This is some 20 gauge beading wire. I picked this up for $1 at a discount secondhand shop. I'm using hot glue, of course, to kind of build out the actual muscle set as well. You can kind of see this is going to be a female Harpy. We've kind of got the basics of the setup here. I've kind of left some spaces here with raw wire, so these can actually be the bendable joints so we can do some posing and the like. And then what I'm planning to do next is start to bulk this out. In addition, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the wings. I think I'm going to do like a cyberish kind of cyber tech style vibe and keep it a little bit more natural down here. We'll kind of see. I may also just put some bits of plastic and such to build armor out down here, because honestly, trying to do a fur texture would be just nightmarish. So yeah, we're going to see what happens with that. But I also wanted to mention that I'm very excited to see how these wings come together. As in classic Twig style, I have decided to go for something that's a little bit more complicated than just starting out with a basic human structure by trying to add on limbs as well as a third limb girdle. This took quite a bit to actually get this attached to the main body, but we were able to make it work, and this is actually inspired by, again, picture on screen. There's this thing from Warframe, the video game, called an archwing, which is kind of like this base of the spine, kind of like little third-party attachment that they do to start flying around space and such, and I was like, that seems cool. I wonder if I can merge that with the actual existing wings to make like this secondary set of wings, kind of like that MTG card I showed off earlier. And yeah, we're going to see what happens, but that is currently where I'm at. We got ourselves some basic bones and now a kind of like flesh and blood kind of hot glue skeleton over it. And so next step obviously is going to be getting the wings built out and fleshing out some of the other bits and pieces, and hopefully I'll be all with you guys after that. So look forward to the next installment. We'll talk to you guys then. Take care. And hello, future Twig. We're back at it once again. It's been a couple of days since we last chatted. In that time, I've actually spent quite a few hours on the Cyber Harpy kind of stop-motion animatronic program, or project, I should say. So let's get right on into it. Let me go and grab her here. We'll bring her back over. As you can see, she's a little bit more than skin and bones now. She's actually had some flesh out. I will say this took quite a bit of time, lots of cutting, lots of refining, and lots of gluing. And, you know, all that stuff takes time, but man, I've had so much fun, and I've got to say, I'm incredibly proud of how she's turned out so far. Just to kind of go over what we've done here today. As you can see, you can still see bits of that golden wire armature underneath, and as you can see with most of the stuff, let's turn around to the back, easier to see there. You can see we still have that hot glue underbody. I was considering covering it over, but I really like that kind of organic biotech look to hot glue that it has, especially once it's done being painted. So I decided to leave this kind of open biotech organic looking body on her back. However, on the front, I decided to use some of my joint compound, cover it over and smooth it down. I think it came out pretty well. Next time, I think I'm going to actually try some air dry clay, mostly because I don't think that this joint compound is going to hold up maybe the best. I'm going to have to test that and see, but it was a bit hard to work with it to actually get it smooth, and as you can see, there's still some pock marks in some areas, but you know what? It is close enough for now, sanded down as much as we're going to get it to. Moving on, of course, you can see we actually used a couple of bottle tabs. This came off of like a chili can originally, this one right here, to create some kind of filigree and decoration for her limbs. As you can see, we also used a couple of traditional 12-ounce soda can tabs as well for her, I guess what would this be, thigh armor on the side. gave her some actual full-on legs and a little bit of armor down here. All of this blue material you're seeing right here, all this blue plastic, came off of a Ziploc Tupperware lid that I found. It did not have an actual Tupperware to go with it, so I cut it down, cut it up, and I used the rounded bits of the edge to actually form these like kind of wing toppers here that kind of add some additional armor plating, and they kind of help bring everything together. Also conveniently helps to hide some of the nastier gluing joints I have to do underneath to secure these links properly to the actual armature itself. These little clear plastic guys here, let's see, these, whoops, there we go. These little clear plastic guys here are actually from a strawberry container lid, where again, I sanded them down, kept them together, and then I glued them onto the main wire armature here, and then covered it with this little bit here. I used a little bit of the joint compound, as you can see, also heal in the gaps, and overall, I think everything came together. I will say, originally what I was planning to do was do each and every wing independently armatured. As you can see on this side, I did that here, which I think looks really good, but the fact of the matter is this little bit here took me almost like an hour to do, whereas this bit took me close to like 10 minutes, and as you can see, it's a little bit more cobbled together and maybe not as like professional, but you know what? This is going to be a stop motion armature, so I don't think it's going to matter in the end. Moving on, of course, to the other features, let's talk about the back here. As you can see, those original cute little wing bits I had, I've extended on into the full-on back wings. I'm actually very happy with how clever this was in coming together. I think it really does kind of give that arch wing style appearance. Also makes it a nice little easy stand for her to kind of rest on right now. And as you can see, it kind of mimics that arch wing, and it does so very easily. I took a couple of the longer sections of the Ziploc container edge, and I added on some wire here to kind of add on that back underwire. And I think I'm actually going to keep a lot of this exposed wire gold, because I think it's going to add a very nice kind of tertiary color to go along with some of the wingtips, in addition to having most of the black and the white here for the top. Moving on up to the back of the head here, as you can see, we used aluminum foil on the front covered with a little layer of hot glue. This is actually the 1 point, just to flip it around here. This is not quite yet done with. I'm actually have one more technique I'm going to try out, but I can't really start that technique until I've Mod Podged and coated this whole thing. So I decided just to get this part of the video out now, and then we'll show off the rest of it later. But moving on to the back here, as you can see, I used a bottle cap that I've glued and kind of covered in directly into that aluminum foil, and I've also added in, this was like a bit off like a pull top, so this is like you pull on the little ring to pull it out of like a container of oat milk, and this is like the little bit underneath that actually kind of holds down the pressure and maintains the vacuum inside the milk itself. So I decided to use this because I like the ridges, thought it gave some interesting detail, and on screen you'll see right here, I actually have an image or screenshot from, what was it? It was the Disney Channel. It was like their attempt at an anime. It was called Fireball. Way old, kind of niche reference. But I love the way this particular helmet that's on screen now looked, and I decided to kind of mimic it. And this, I felt, did a really good job of mimicking that back portion, which should be on screen as well right now. Flipping it back around to actually get the spires of the headdress. Whoa! As you can tell, very professional setup I have here. But the spires of the headdress, as you can see up here, I took a couple of bread tabbies, and I basically cut them down and cut them up until they're in a triangular shape. Glued two triangles together at an angle, 45-degree angle roughly, to try and create these little spires. I've used a little bit of wire that attach them to the main body, and I've used a little bit of hot glue to kind of fill them out and kind of fill them in. Overall, I think they hold on very well. I'm going to have to kind of test this out over time and see how sturdy this entire mechanism is. But I can safely say I probably will use needle nose pliers, but I can adjust. This is still all very much positionable, as you can like kind of twist and position the limbs all you want. So I'm looking forward to, once I get this Mod Podged and painted up, trying to use this in a stop motion animation that may have to be kind of next summer, because I'm getting ready to go back to college, and obviously I'm not going to have all the time to do all this that I usually do over the summer. So that's maybe a next summer project, but I am still over the moon with this, because this has been I've wanted to do this for several years now, this Cyber Harpy, and I tried it in several different iterations, as you saw earlier in the video, and it just hasn't been going well. So coming back to it now, and in the course of a couple days, having this her to this level, I'm very excited, and I think this is very cool. And if nothing else, I've got a niche, one-of-a-kind action figure that I've created all myself. And so yeah, anyways, that's all I have for this little update bit of it, and I guess next time you see me, we'll have this Mod Podge and probably even painted by that time. So till then. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the final part of this video. Twig Mittens here once again, IRL Twig, and we're going to be showing off the final painted miniature. So first off, I thought I would show you guys a comparison. This is, of course, the very first attempt I ever made at this Cyber Harpy, and as you can see, it was kind of rough, really wasn't happy with it, just kind of a point of reference there. And yeah, it was just a couple plastic bits glued together with a bottle cap for a base and a couple of screws to help anchor it down. But overall, I wasn't very pleased with it. So, with that in mind, of course, we've been showing off this wire armature I had, and then showing off the stuff on top of it, but let's show off how it looks painted. And I must say, I am over the moon about this. This has been, I thought it was only 2 years, and it only has been 2 years that I've actively wanted to do this. But when I first got in the miniatures, which was like four years ago, right during long COVID, rather during COVID itself, and I saw the Warhammer 40k scene with some of their flying units. I always wanted a flying unit of my own. Granted, this isn't like on a 28mm base, so it's not in the traditional sense, but I am over the moon and pleased as punch of how this turned out. Just to give you a walk down, of course, we have the gold here is kind of our accent color, so a lot of the metallic bits and a lot of the filigree. If you guys have ever played Warframe, the idea for this filigree actually came from that, because a lot of the equipment you can attach to your Warframe's legs kind of has this appearance. And then I also use the bottle caps on the side here that give some more filigree and kind of just give some more detail. Add that gold over the whole miniature so it looks better. Additionally, I also want to show off that I actually dry brushed some gold on top of here, because I was noticing the white was very stark, and white is a very difficult color to choose a wash for that wouldn't look kind of grody or messed up. So I loved using just a little bit of gold. There's even a little bit, which is very hard to pick up on camera here, just to kind of like weather this appearance a little bit and show off that this, admittedly, it's less of a cyber harpy and more of like a gilded warrior. It's a gilded warrior harpy. Still shows off that it's been through some wear and tear and been through some battles. Kind of flipping over here on the back side, as you can see, we have the arch wings. Pan up this a little bit, used some of that gold to help kind of pick out some of the prominent details here, and have everything coated in a nice thick layer of Mod Podge. But what is nice is that, as you can see, you can still bend and move and pose the wings, which is exciting to me, because I think in the future when I do some stop motion, this will be very fun. I also must say, this piece up here came out wonderfully. This is actually a small little bottle cap, obviously, but the inner spit here of all this detail is actually from a pull tab that you would find on a carton of oat milk, and the details came out very nicely with the gold surrounded by the white. Also, I was surprised. I'm actually blown away by how much I love bare hot glue. Just this kind of bio-organic, kind of moldy, kind of like fleshy look, almost like the Venom symbiote, is just fantastic to me, and overall it came together well. And then as you see all the different colors on the back here, I kind of kept that symbiote appearance going, so it kind of looks like this is like a biotech warrior of some sort. Very exciting. And last but not least, let's flip her back over, because I figured that the detail I need to talk the most about, because it wasn't here last time, was actually the face veil, which was, this is a veil I was originally going to have hanging down, but I must admit that was actually going to prove to be quite difficult working with what I was, what this veil is it's actually cheesecloth, as you can see. This stuff you can find in most stores, and what I did was I basically soaked it in a combination of paint and Mod Podge. I've never done this technique before, I wanted to try it, and what you get is this very nice looking appearance. Admittedly, it's a little bit less of the metallic armored veil I was going for, and a little bit more of like a scarecrow mask, but it's very minor details, and overall I'm very happy with how it turned out. I think it looks wonderfully. I think in the future what you could use is you could use some like of that little there's like that little chain weave stuff you'll sometimes see for jewelry or other sort of details, and you can use that instead. And I think that might give a bit more of the veiled armor appearance, like something from Elden Ring, as opposed to this, which looks more like a scarecrow horror monster. Either way though, hardly, if I don't tell anyone that, no one's ever going to know. And the piece itself came together wonderfully. As you can see, the black, white, and gold combo well. And that is actually all I have for you guys today. So this is my last video I'm going to be posting before I head off to college. And I just want to give you one last miniature update. And yes, thank you all for watching all. Bye!